Details about the woman accused of assault in the Surrey Memorial NICU.
This should never have happened.
The disturbing crime she was convicted of nearly 10 years ago. Plus, pushing back on involuntary care.
Forced treatment will further erode trust and disengage people from care.
Why some healthcare workers say they won't take part in the province's plan. And FIFA funding.
I think really what the public deserves is nothing less than pure transparency.
The multi-million-dollar payments to the 3 host nations and questions about what the money will be used for.
You're watching Global BC. This is Global News at 5.
Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. A warning about our top story today. Some of the details could be disturbing. The owner of a dog that was tortured almost to death 10 years ago is speaking out now that the woman convicted of attacking her pet is charged with handling 3 babies in Surrey Memorial Hospital. 35-year-old Lindsay Susan Hurtrider is accused of entering Surrey Memorial's neonatal intensive care unit October 28th, taking off her shirt and holding 3 infants skin to skin. She faces 3 counts of assault. In November of 2016, Hurtrider was sentenced to 2 years probation for attacking and torturing a black lab. Ryder had been stabbed with scissors in the face and eye, beaten with a blunt object, and a number of objects had been forced into his stomach. Ryder survived and is still alive. One of his owners says she's horrified that the woman who almost killed her dog was allegedly able to get into a hospital NICU.
It's horrendous, and those parents need to realize how close their child came in harm's way. So I think something needs to be done. She should not be out in society, and that should never have happened. So, and those parents are very lucky.
As for the incident at Surrey Memorial NICU, Health Minister Josie Osborne says Fraser Health is investigating and has already updated its security protocols. None of the allegations has been tested in court. There is pushback today against the provincial government's move to use involuntary care for people dealing with severe substance use disorders. A group representing drug users, students, and healthcare workers says it has the signatures of close to 300 healthcare workers who will refuse to participate in the program. Speaking outside Vancouver Coastal Health offices, members say the solution to the drug and mental health crisis is not forced treatment, but instead greater supports.
We can't prescribe or police our way out of this crisis. We need housing. We need a regulated, safer supply. We need to bolster our voluntary treatment options, including those with concurrent disorders.
The Mental Health Act, with its strict guidelines and criteria for admission, helps to provide care for those people who are simply not in a position to be able to make decisions themselves.
The provincial government is looking to pass amendments to the Mental Health Act to provide liability protection for those working in involuntary care. The Globe and Mail is reporting that beginning later this month, anyone with a prescription for safer supply drugs will need to take those meds in front of a pharmacist or a nurse. Today, Health Minister Josie Osborne would only say an update on prescribed alternatives is coming this week. Until now, the program has faced a lot of controversy, especially surrounding diverted opioids being sold on the streets to people they weren't intended for. Some critics say the government shouldn't be prescribing any drugs.
The next step is to offer treatment and recovery options for people, not more drugs. So this is a taxpayer-funded supply of dangerous drugs, and this needs to stop, whether it's controlled or not controlled. I'm glad that there are more guardrails around it. Obviously, that's progress. But what we really need to see, what the goal is to make sure that everybody who needs treatment in this province gets it, and we're very far from that goal.
It's expected the new program will begin December 30th. The Prescribed Alternatives program was first launched in 2020 as a way to try to lower the number of deaths due to the toxic street drug supply. Homicide investigators have released the identity of a man fatally shot in Surrey's Guildford neighborhood on Friday. 26-year-old Jeskaren Bering of Chilliwack was shot and killed around 11:40 p.m. near 152 Street and 105 Avenue in Surrey. Police say Bering was known to police and had links to the drug trade. Investigators believe the shooting was targeted. About 15 minutes after the shooting, a white Dodge Ram pickup was found engulfed in flames near 136th Street and 115th Avenue. Avenue. Anyone with information or video evidence of either scene between 9 p.m. Friday and midnight Saturday is asked to contact IHIT. Well, the province is signing a new memorandum of agreement to bring better standards and practices for long-term care workers and residents. The agreement is between the Health Ministry, the Health Employers Association of BC, and the Facilities Bargaining Association. It will bring eligible, publicly funded care home operators under the membership of the Health Employers Association. The province says the agreement benefits more than 5,000 workers by implementing fair wages and reducing turnover rates.
This is a major step forward. It strengthens consistent labor standards across the long-term care and assisted living sector, supports a stable and sustainable workforce, and it helps reduce turnover. Most importantly, it means the workers who care for seniors each and every day can continue to offer the familiar, reliable care that seniors and their families depend on.
The Memorandum of Agreement will come into effect in 2 phases beginning in October of 2026, and all eligible sites will be transitioned by September of 2028. More questions about the cost to taxpayers of hosting the 2026 FIFA World Cup, this time focusing on payments made to First Nations. The latest estimate of the cost to BC of hosting World Cup matches is $624 million. Part of that budget includes vague references such as province and other public sector entities. Global News has learned that includes $18 million in payments to the 3 host First Nations, $6 million each for the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations, with no mention of any specific conditions attached to the money.
I can't really talk in specific details without the First Nation present, but what I could say is in our discussions that they are very interested in building capacity as well as participation, but using the funds to build up long and lasting legacies for their communities as well as the next generation.
I think really what the public deserves is nothing less than pure transparency and an understanding of what the deliverables are going to be for any sums of money that are being distributed, not just to Indigenous communities, but to any community or partner around the whole FIFA experience.
While the BC government isn't saying much about the money, Musqueam Chief Wayne Sparrow is telling Global News the money comes with clear guidelines for spending and that his community will be consulted. Coming up, pipeline politics.
I support process. I've always supported process.
Reaction from a North Coast BC MP and Mark Carney's cabinet shuffle in the wake of the announcement. Plus, pushing for peace in Ukraine. What's next on the path to a possible deal to end the war and the challenges that stand in the way.
Traffic is busy and steady in both directions at the Port Mann Bridge with plenty of congestion eastbound along Highway 1 through Vancouver and Burnaby. Kermac Collision and Auto Glass is expanded to Kelowna, Vernon, and Kamloops. When you choose Kermac in the Thompson Okanagan, you choose to support BC Children's Hospital. Kermac cares for kids. I'm Trish Jewison in the Global Traffic Center.
It's Christmas everywhere. This program is brought to you by Fortis BC. Discover how to save energy and money at fortisbc.com/energy saving tips.
Prime Minister Mark Carney shuffled his front bench today. The move was done in order to replace Stephen Guilbeault, who resigned from cabinet last week following the federal Alberta Pipeline Memorandum of Understanding. Mackenzie Gray has more from Ottawa.
8 months after being fired by the Prime Minister, Mark Miller has made his way back into cabinet. Appointed as the Culture Minister, the first major change Mark Carney has made to his cabinet since the last election, all stemming from the resignation of Stephen Guilbeault.
The Honourable Joel Lightbound.
Procurement Minister Joel Lightbound takes over the Quebec Lieutenant job.
I, Julia Viva de Bruzen.
And Environment Minister Julie de Bruzen absorbing the National Parks file from Guilbeault. De Bruzen, now the key cabinet minister, left to defend the Liberals' environmental policies in the wake of the pipeline agreement with Alberta.
I would not override the province of British Columbia, which is what the Conservatives say they would do.
So the province of British Columbia has a veto?
The Prime Minister has been clear.
The Prime Minister has sole responsibility under the Constitution and C5.
Well, the Prime Minister does have the authority to push through a pipeline, even if BC and First Nations don't want it. The Conservative MP for the northern coast of BC, a former First Nations chief, is less aggressive compared to his Conservative colleagues.
Do you personally support the idea of a pipeline going through the northwest coast of British Columbia?
I support process. I've always supported process, no matter what kind of project we're talking about. And in this case here, I can't see what the process is, given the Major Progress Office, the Canadian Impact Assessment Agency, the MOU. It's all over the map.
Navigating that process now at the heart of Alberta's ability to get a potential pipeline, something Premier Danielle Smith believes will be easier with Guilbeault out of cabinet.
I'm quite happy, glad to see him go and not have the influence in caucus that he clearly had under the previous administration.
While Mark Carney has worked hard to distance himself from the Justin Trudeau era, Mark Miller is one of the former Prime Minister's best friends, and his return to cabinet is a potential nod to both caucus members and numerous senior Liberal staff who were very upset with Guilbeault's departure. Mackenzie Gray, Global News, Ottawa.
On the heels of yet another meeting between U.S. officials and Russian President Vladimir Putin, European leaders are aiming to shore up their wall of support for Ukraine. It comes as a peace deal gains momentum, but as Reggie Cicchini reports, there are still hurdles in the way.
A warm embrace of two European leaders aiming to bring an end to a nearly 4-year war, one that continues to ravage Ukraine. At least 40 were injured in Dnipro in the country's east as Russia again struck non-military infrastructure. We saw flames and an explosion. Everyone fell to the floor, this man says. This sit-down in Paris followed a roundtable between the Ukrainians and Americans over the weekend, though any changes to a peace proposal are being kept under wraps.
We want to see the end of the killing and the death and the suffering.
The search for a solution is complicated. These talks happened without Ukraine's top negotiator. Andrei Yermak was instrumental in trying to soften the U.S.-backed proposal, but was fired amid a corruption scandal that could give the Kremlin a chance to paint Kyiv as unstable.
I'm afraid that all the pressure will be put on the victim, which is that Ukraine has to make concessions and obligations.
Despite the political setback, European leaders remain on Ukraine's side and are bracing for what might come. On Tuesday, Steve Witkoff, the American envoy to most wars, will again sit with Vladimir Putin to push for a deal.
We do feel quite good, and we're hopeful that this war can finally come to an end.
The Kremlin a couple of days ago came out and said that Putin was currently, quote, satisfied with the current dynamics of the war.
The French president says for a complete peace plan, all parties need to be at the table, not just individual meetings. Well, Volodymyr Zelensky says he'll decide his next steps once his delegation returns home.
I think that the security guarantees, of course, are probably the most important bottom line for Ukraine. They have to have confidence that there is a future to rebuild for, and that this war isn't just going to start all over again.
A security guarantee intended to protect all of Ukraine, including territory that Zelensky insists can't be handed over. Reggie Cicchini, Global News, Washington.
Just ahead, winter is coming.
It gives a much better image for CATSA to actually screen travelers faster.
YVR's new technology and preparedness plan to ensure a smoother winter travel experience. Plus, on this World AIDS Day, why transmission trends for HIV are a concern and new guidelines around medications later.
My name is Andrewa. People come to me when they feel really frustrated. They've hit a roadblock and they have nowhere to turn. His accountants tried to reach out repeatedly, but got nowhere.
It was extremely frustrating.
They need someone who can go up to bat for them, and that's where Consumer Matters comes in.
I got no response until Ann jumped in.
You're really good at your job.
If it matters to you, it matters to me.
What do you guys think is going on out there?
Closed captioning of this program is brought to you in part by Fortis BC. Discover easy tips to save energy and money at fortisbc.com/energy saving tips.
The word of the year has officially been announced by Oxford University. Rage bait, what it means after Christie's forecast. Well, ahead of what's expected to be a record-breaking travel season, Vancouver International Airport is rolling out new technology to keep operations running smoothly. If you have traveled through YVR over the last few months, you have likely noticed the new CT X-ray equipment. It allows travelers to leave electronics and liquids in their bags to speed up the security process. More of the machines are being installed at the domestic terminal. Also new this year for people traveling to the U.S., e-gates that allow passengers to use facial recognition to verify their identity instead of showing their ID and boarding passes. The airport is also getting ready on the tarmac.
The employees, as you can see right now, are training. So we start our training in September on the actual de-icing trucks, and that goes all the way until the snowfall begins, which we can expect in December, January into February. And our training is ongoing throughout the entire de-icing season.
YVR projects the busiest travel days this holiday season will be Thursday, December 18th, with nearly 77,000 people traveling through the terminal, followed by Monday, December 29th, with more than 75,000 people. Well, we are now into December, one of the most dangerous times of the year for BC drivers, according to ICBC. The Insurance Corporation says the province sees nearly 26,000 crashes on average during December. While drivers may assume snow is the big factor, temperatures below 7 degrees can cause reduced grip and longer stopping distances when using all-season or summer tires.
We know every time you have to go out and scrape your windshield in the morning that the temperatures are hovering around 0 degrees. So it's really for those people who are having to commute in the morning, take children to school. They're usually doing it before the sun is high in the sky and before that the roads have had a chance to warm up, temperatures have had a chance to warm up. So winter tires can be very effective even if you're in an area without snow.
ICBC is encouraging drivers to have winter-rated tires installed, leave more room ahead when driving in wet, dark, or icy conditions, and carry an emergency kit in case you find yourself stranded. All right, let's bring in meteorologist Christy Gordon now with a look at our forecast. And will we see any winter driving conditions? Looks like possibly, Christy.
Yeah, certainly in the interior right now. So thanks so much, Sophie. Yeah, so we have a snowfall warning in place for parts of the Caribou down through 100 Mile, Thompson region, Shuswap, as well as the north and central portions of the Okanagan. So this is a yellow warning. So Environment and Climate Change Canada has just changed things. We're now looking at a tiered system. Yellow warning is the lowest on the concern scale. So this is a basic snowfall warning for that region where we're talking about 10 to 15 centimeters of snow as a frontal band moves across. We also have a weather statement in place for the Chilcotin and northern portions of the Caribou because we're expecting a wintry mix, so a mix of rain and snow in those regions. Here's the frontal band making its way across, kicking up the pockets of snowfall all across the region. We saw heavy rain at one point, even a bit of hail today, but conditions have eased off. We just have a chance of showers, and we're going to see a clearing trend. I should note, though, we are expecting significant snow on the mountain passes overnight tonight into tomorrow morning for the Allison Pass as well as the Coquihalla. But by late morning hours, that will clear out and we're headed towards a beautiful Tuesday. So if you need to travel by late morning and into the afternoon hours, things look much better before conditions change for the worse on Wednesday once again. So Wednesday for the southern 1/3 of the province, we'll see mainly cloudy skies, but certainly bright tomorrow. Cold though, so we're definitely looking at the potential for snow in through the interior where there's still a little bit of moisture in through the morning hours, and we could see a little bit of drizzle in the morning with that cloud cover, Sophie, but by late morning we'll be enjoying some sunshine and we'll see that in the afternoon. Wednesday looks dry but mainly cloudy. Thursday looks certainly wet though. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Christy. We are nearing the end of 2025. That means Oxford University Press is out with its Word of the Year. After 3 days of voting by 30,000 people, Rage Bait has claimed this year's top prize. The term, which refers to content deliberately crafted to provoke anger or outrage, reflects a news cycle dominated by social unrest and concerns over digital well-being. This year's shortlisted terms also included aura farming and biohack. Last year's Word of the Year was brain rot. Coming up, breaking down barriers.
We know that they're safe and effective, and we really want to deploy them as widely as possible.
New guidelines for medications to prevent HIV infection on this World AIDS Day.
I'm Donna Friesen. Ahead tonight on Global National, why a Canadian steel company is laying off about 1,000 workers. Plus, what happens when you combine a violent outburst of anger with an attractive morsel of food? It's Oxford's Word of the Year. That's all tonight on Global National.
Slow and steady across the Patello Bridge this afternoon with plenty of volume north and south on McBride. Select Sussex Insurance and make a difference when you renew your auto plan online. Select your neighborhood Sussex Insurance location when prompted and help support Diabetes Canada exclusively at Sussex Insurance. I'm Trish Jewison in the Global Traffic Center.
Watch Global News at 5 for Weather Window. Check out your fellow viewers' favorite photos of local neighborhoods and outdoor spaces. Weather Window is brought to you by Big Box Outlet Stores, helping you save more every day.
This is a journey no family.
Double your impact all month long. Donations made to the Surrey Hospitals Foundation will be matched until December 31st, with funds going towards supporting seniors' care. The Vancouver International Black Film Festival returns. Discover the dynamic celebration of creativity, culture, and talent through films, panels, and community events. For Our BC, I'm Sophia Pirani.
In partnership with Science World, donate today to light up their world through fun and accessible science education.
As we mark World AIDS Day, there is concern over the increase in HIV cases in Canada. Catherine Ward has more on the troubling trend and new efforts to break down barriers for people to get proper treatment.
Getting people pre-exposure and post-exposure treatments for HIV infection can be a nuanced challenge for doctors.
There's lots of very good reasons that an individual might not feel comfortable, might not feel empowered to talk to a healthcare provider candidly about the types of behaviors or situations that may predispose them to HIV risk.
New Canadian HIV guidelines are looking to make it easier for patients to get medication.
We say anyone who comes forward saying, hey, I think I'm interested in PrEP, it's appropriate to prescribe PrEP to those individuals, while at the same time saying that clinicians absolutely have a responsibility to actively seek out opportunities to prescribe PrEP to their patients as well.
We don't want to see them referring people to specialists for what is a pretty simple HIV prevention option.
Andrew Brett says transmission trends for HIV are a concern.
The latest estimates that we have from the Public Health Agency of Canada say that they went up by 15% between 2020 and 2022. And that's pretty alarming for a country with a healthcare system like ours that could actually eliminate HIV as a public health concern.
Elected officials recognize the importance of the issue.
On World AIDS Day, I want to introduce a fantastic East York community leader, Justin Van Dett.
Recognized at Queen's Park in Toronto Monday for his push to make medications more accessible. A challenge he has experienced living with HIV and AIDS.
I want to say that I feel like, in some respects, that the HIV AIDS disease is under attack a little bit, just especially by what's happening in the United States. And I think, boy, while that's happening down there, wouldn't it be great if we could see some progress on funding HIV medications?
Catherine Ward, Global News, Toronto.
As the holidays shopping season ramps up, why small businesses say this year the buy local movement is crucial to their bottom line. That's tonight on the News Hour. And that's it for Global News at 5 today. Thanks for watching. Chris and I will be here at 6 with the News Hour.